Well, continuing our chat here about the current situation and the potential for the bus strike, and in some areas of the media there has been reports, and they haven't been substantiated as far as I'm aware, but of intimidation, and this is not to go with you, but to go with the union. In other words, intimidation on some people to go on strike. Have you heard that, and is it true, and what would you say if it is?
I have had direct contact regarding this.
So it is a case or two you actually have heard from people?
It is. It really is something that distresses me that people would think about threatening their own colleagues regarding this. I have spoken to the union about this, and they are concerned about it. It is for them to deal with on their members, and what I would say is that, you know, if any members do feel as if they are coming up under intimidation to go out on strike, you know, they can contact us confidentially and we will deal with it.
Was this intimidation to vote for the strike, or intimidation about crossing any picket lines?
It was intimidation to vote for the strike.
And therefore, they won't be going into work now because they have voted for the strike. Is that what you're thinking, or do you feel that some people actually are willing to cross those picket lines?
I think some people may, but
we've had suggestions through the management chain that a number of members of staff are saying, look, we don't want to be on strike. And clearly, whilst the timing is very, very bad for the public, it's also quite bad for your Christmas budgeting if you're going to lose 3 days' pay just in the week prior to Christmas. So I'm sure there are people who have financial commitments who really feel that they need to work. I would hope there are people who feel that they're fairly dealt with and they ought to come to work. But of course it's an individual choice. Certainly we've notified the police that we believe that we have staff who wish to work. Of course, I fully accept it's difficult for them to cross a picket line. These people have to work with all year. It will be a very, very hard call for them. Yeah. But if they do want to come to work, we have asked the police to make sure that they can safely do so, and we'll be glad of their assistance.
Finally, do you think you've handled this the best way you could have done?
I think over the period of time we've entered into negotiations with the union, and the union have twice recommended to their members acceptance of an offer. Now, it's difficult for me to believe that why would the union recommend to their members if they did not think this was a better option for them. I think there is a reality out there that, you know, they understand that there's no more money. It's just a case of getting that over. And one of the other areas that concerns me is they say that we've not done anything at managerial level to make savings. We've had over £300,000 worth of managerial savings out of the department. So it has been looked at across the whole department.
Worst scenario, can you actually sack all the bus drivers and re-engage them on new contracts? Is that in your arsenal?
That's what we've done.
But to actually follow through and literally get rid of them all.
The Isle of Man has protection, as lots of other places do, for unfair dismissal. Yeah. So we took great care in the original movement that we made to make sure that when we dismissed them and offered them the new terms they're now currently working on, a majority are now working on that anyway, that we did so in a way that was fair and proportionate to our financial situation. If we were to have to make another step like that, then clearly we would have to be able to demonstrate again to a tribunal that to do so was fair. You can't dismiss someone just because they're taking industrial action. That would not be right, and they're protected in law. The department is committed to complying with employment law at all times. Yeah. So we can't say you were on strike, therefore you're out of a job. That isn't right, it isn't legal, and it isn't proper. We won't do that. However, we will deal with people who act illegally, even on a picket line. If they think it's appropriate to damage a vehicle, to intimidate a member of staff, then they remain subject to our disciplinary procedures. They remain subject to the law, and the police will be on hand to make sure that all that things are done lawfully.
You do say that there's a lot of people on the Isle of Man with PPV driving licences. These are people that can actually go and drive these things. So are they queuing up already? Do you know about that? And would they be the ones that would want the jobs, for instance?
We certainly have had, when the strike was announced, and indeed before that, when the original dismissals were announced, we've had speculative phone calls to our Human Resources Department saying, have you got any jobs as a bus driver? We believe there are 1,500 people on the island with a PPV currently. they're all legally able to drive a bus. They've all been through criminal records checking, because you need to go through that before getting your PPV. And we are now putting in place a rapid recruitment process to top up our existing casual list. We always have a casual list to cover for sickness and holidays and the like, but we are seeking to significantly add to that list so that if necessary we can provide cover with casual labour. And we very much hope that people will come, because we believe we pay a good rate of pay and we provide a good working environment. So hopefully people wanted to join us.
And there had been a bit of confusion in Tynwald where you got your numbers wrong. Just give it to us straight now again. What does a bus driver get?
A bus driver who is working a 37-hour week for 37 hours, the pay is 24,000.
And
then they get their guaranteed 5 hours paid lunch, which puts them up to 42 hours, which is just short of £27,000. The average wage is between the lowest paid, including overtime, is 30 and the highest is £45,000.
And in real terms, what will they lose if they accept your deal?
What they will be doing is they will be losing their paid lunch hour, and they will be going down to a 37-hour week. We are not altering their hourly rate at all, or their premium rate. All it is the paid lunch.
Okay. Well, we'll be obviously following this one. I mean, you're waiting for a phone call, no doubt, over the weekend, no doubt, although you have your meetings on Tuesday. How late in the day will you go ahead with your plans here?
I think we are open all the way through to, if they come to us and say they are content with the negotiations, the door is open.
We have to be careful, Paul. We obviously have a duty to tell the travelling public what arrangements we can provide and what they need to do to get to their destination. So we have to be clear about that. So at the moment, we are on one hand negotiating towards a solution, but being realistic about that and saying to the public, if we can't get a solution, it's a Sunday timetable plus trams and trains, and we're working with the schools, with the secondary heads who've been fantastic with us, and we'll be putting information on websites, on school information, getting information to people that these are the alternatives. So at the very latest, on Wednesday night, say, we'll be able to say it's either all solved, Thursday timetable, or it's not solved, Sunday timetable.
And to pupils that don't turn up, there's no excuse then? They're not accepting?
The schools remaining open. The schools have all said to us that they understand that because we've had to move some services around, because of course a Sunday timetable doesn't normally have school services, we'll have some people arrive in slightly earlier, some people slightly later, some people have to leave early. And so on. The schools have all said, that's fine, we just want the kids to come. So if they're a bit late because your bus was half an hour later than usual, that's not a problem at all. Parents will be encouraged to get their kids to school. I'm sure that the Departments of Education and Children would like me to remind parents please not to clutter up school accesses, not to drop their kids off within the school boundaries if at all possible. The biggest risk in all of this is extra cars on the road, particularly around schools, when there's large numbers of children also walking who perhaps may sometimes get the bus that live close enough to walk. So if you can send your child to school on foot, then please do so. If they can use a bus or they can use a tram or a train, then please put them on that, because large numbers of parents with one child per car dropping off in school grounds will simply add more difficulty for our schools.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and a lot of children are actually looking forward to using the train.
Yeah, there's that. Thank you very much.